Hey, guys. There isn't a soul to Silicon Valley. It's more of a hive. If anything, there's a hive-like mentality where people band together and do great things, and sometimes they don't even realize what they've created.
So this is downtown Palo Alto. You tend to have a lot of happenings going on here.
For $1 million, you probably get a very nice house, but it certainly doesn't buy you the high end in any of these areas anymore.
Every once in a while, you will see some guy who's 25, 30 years old driving a Lamborghini down the street. And that, to me, is like that ostentatious show of wealth that it turns my stomach. There's obviously no point to be made there except that that guy is worth a lot of money.
The magic is the people. It's not the environment or the building. It's the mindset and the culture. It's who's got the bucks and who's doing the deals. It's the deal place. Simple.
So every dollar that comes in through a sponsorship, through a click-through of an object, or through an e-commerce transaction, we share in that.
So you say 50-50, like money together?
50-50 is sort of like a nice starting point.
We want to either buy you or at least make sure someone else doesn't buy you.
Our biggest goal is we know this stuff is hot, we know the window of opportunity is now, and we just want to get it out to as many people as we can. Through as many...
For Justin Kitch, starting a company in the Valley that allows anyone to publish on the web is a long way from the cornfields of Kansas where he grew up. His company, Homestead Technology, is on the verge of going public, and Kitch is uncomfortable with the economics of the system.
The fact that people who are my age can be worth millions of dollars after only a few years' work, and people of my parents' generation work for 30, 40 years so that they can retire with $1 million if they're lucky, or retire with $500,000, and it's absurd. People always want to know, what's your valuation, what's your valuation? It was around 100, so 100 million or so. What we're trying to do is change the world and emancipate, liberate, but yet in our own little world, we're sort of screwing, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer and having to, literally cannot buy a house next to the office that they work in.
Well, it may be a piece of grass, but it's a piece of grass in Palo Alto, and that's worth a hell of a lot more than if it was a piece of grass in Fargo, North Dakota. The American dream today is that these kids are 25 to 35, and they've all made it. I guess if you haven't made it by 35, you're probably out of the ballpark and you're not in the game. And they are buying the $4 million, the $3 million, the $2 million homes.
These are people who stayed in a garage, worked on their product, their little widget went public, and now they're thrown before thousands of people.
As a tastemaker, as a designer, I find that my clients are very young.
These kids are getting instruction on how to go to dinner, what utensils to use. We think in Pretty Woman that was funny when she was being taught, but that's actually the case.
2 dishwashers. Again, I think this is a lot of fun. I'd love to have this in my house for entertaining. So when we entertain, it makes it easy to clean up.
When you look at the landscaping here, landscapers do very good in Silicon Valley. As you can see, everything is very green, very lush, very beautiful, very manicured. And as they say in Silicon Valley, very gorgeous.
And part of the culture of the Valley is that people have their own private vineyards. And we're starting to see a lot of enjoyment of the lifestyle, the wine, good living. And what I say is enjoy the journey.
The social aspect of Silicon Valley is almost an oxymoron. There's so little pure social activity left. Almost everyone has some ulterior business thing that could be going on in a social gathering. The distinction between work time and play time is increasingly blurred.
I'd love to meet somebody fabulous here.
I'm here because, like most people here, I work too hard and don't meet enough people.
Opulence. It's fabulous.
A couple other couples were talking about how many single friends we have and how hard it is for people to meet people, and we said, let's just put them all together and throw a party.
The world of Silicon Valley is kind of the American dream. American dream on steroids is what I would call it.
We work very hard, we play very hard, and we die very hard. And somewhere in between, we come to this party.
It's remarkably hard to meet somebody in Silicon Valley because everybody works all the time.
I have great friends, and I travel a great deal, and trying to balance the two is very tough.
When somebody goes from a $50,000 net worth to a $30 million net worth, they have a problem.
I think there's a huge amount of loneliness in Silicon Valley.
It's not fantasy created on debt. It's fantasy created on technology. I don't know what the valuation of these stocks are. No one knows.
The opportunity to make a big hit is so extraordinary that it really kind of blows through any kind of single scene. So I think there are people here for a singles party, but, you know, who is that person and what can they do for me and what can I do for them?
We have some people having some fun here, and we also have some people, like a couple of startup people, running around trying to show off their new products, like Softbook. This is a book. This is not a computer. It looks like a laptop computer, but it's not a laptop computer. This is a book.
Instant wealth creates a massive amount of problems. You could hire all these people to manage all this stuff. It becomes a huge burden.
I wish I had some rich internet husband, you know, take care of me so that I don't have to work anymore. I get to be a wife.
Silicon Valley is a tough environment because the expectation of what you need to put out is basically about 210% of where you're expected everywhere else. And basically, you can absolutely create miracles, and that's the norm.
My roommate goes out with a guy who's a software engineer. He has a PhD from Stanford. He's a professor at Stanford. He has 5 patents, right? He's worth millions. And he has no social skills whatsoever. I mean, she says she has to teach her boyfriend 101.
When you're working 24/7, are the sacrifices worth the increases in the bank accounts? Is loneliness simply a byproduct of the current economic explosion? The answer is simple. It's still hard to get a date in the Valley.
This is a classic Silicon Valley situation. Oh, do you have a hard time getting a date? Oh, no. Because no one wants to look like there's any kind of failure whatsoever. Because, you know, you have to be pushing the envelope. My company's the greatest. My IPO's the best, blah, blah, blah. You're constantly in front of, you know, venture capitalists or funders or somebody who's interested. If you show one single ounce of vulnerability, you're toast, right? And it just came up right now. Oh, can you have a hard time getting a date? Oh, well, of course not. You know, not if I wanted to.
It's major hype right now. Everybody has dollar signs in their eyes. Everybody's trying to get a little bit of press, you know, a little attention from some VCs. They all want to go public and at the right time. And there's so much hype surrounding the Valley and the companies that I think it's really tempting to forget to focus on what you should be focusing on, which is the substance of what you're building.